My name is Sebastian Twensi in the Volta region.
You have enough. Any member of the committee?
Good morning. My name is Shirley Che, Member of Parliament for Achuma Webeja South Constituency and a member of the committee.
Good morning, Chair. Geoffrey Kinney is my name, and I represent the good people of Nkwanta South and a member of the committee. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Frank Yabua, MP for Achuma Nwabeja North in the Ashanti region, a member of the committee. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Ernest Yawani, Member of Parliament, Kumaru, and a member of this committee.
Good morning. My name is Akwesi Kunedu, the representative of the people of Menchia North in the 9th Parliament and a member of the committee.
Good morning. My name is Samuel Atta Mills, MP for Commander Edina Eguafo Abrem, and the ranking member of the committee, but I'm chairing today.
Good morning. I'm David Sansao Poku, the member of Parliament people, and the vice chairperson or chairman for the committee. Thank you.
My name is Abna Osei Asare, Member of Parliament for Itiwa East and the chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee of Ghana. Thank you.
Auditors, please.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. My name is Michael Addo, Assistant Auditor General, Audit Service.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. My name is Kwajo Treme, Assistant Auditor General, Audit Service.
All right, may we call the Honorable Minister of Education, please, and his team. And clerk, please administer the oath, please.
Put your mic on here.
Swear by the Almighty God.
Swear by the Almighty God.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
Touching the matter in issue.
Tell the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Honorable Minister, could you introduce yourself and your delegation, please?
Chairman, I'm Haruna Idrisu, Republic of Ghana. Accompanying me to my right is the Chief Director of the Ministry of Education, Lydia Esua. Then to my left is Professor Abdullahi Jinapo, Director General of the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission. Then Ziblin is the Executive Director of the Ghana Library. Bitintiche Ziblin is together with other supporting staff from the Ministry of Education and its agencies. Thank you, Chair.
All right, Honorable Minister, thank you very much. I need to start with Get Fund.
To respond to any matter bordering on the Ghana Education Trust Fund. Thank you.
Okay. That we are, I guess, here. But let's go to Chartered Institute of Bankers. And Honorable Desmond Paytu will take care of their financials. So they are not here either. What about Commission for Technical and Vocational Education? You?
Yes, CTVET.
Okay. Honorable Shirley Che, then you may want to take care of their financials, please.
Thank you, Chair. So this is for the year ending December 2023. When we look at your, well, there was an increase in your, an increase by 83% in your internally generated funds. Can you please educate the IGF?
The Commission for Tertiary and Vocational Education is in the provision of education at the secondary level. Chair, we all grew up knowing Ghana education in order that we take advantage of skills-on training to equip young people to prepare them for the world of work. So the Commission TVET was hived out of the GES to be responsible for those institutions that are directly dealing with skills training. They are getting a lot of budgetary support, and they're also getting lots of donor interest and donor support in what they do, particularly from Germany, Italy, and the EU generally, lots of investment. Apart from examination charges, they also engage in some activities that they earn money.
Thank you. There was also an increase in your goods and services. Is it the case that because you're receiving more funding, you keep spending more?
Honourable member, they need more. If they had more money, it would be more useful for them to undertake their activities. They need more.
Your investment income, what constitutes your investment income, please? There was a slight
grant. They have what they call the e-voucher project and others, and that is dwindling, and that accounts for the decline in investment income. Thank you.
Non-current assets. There was an increase in your non-current assets, and you are attributing it to revaluation. I know when it comes with your plant and equipment, how come you revalued and it went up?
Yes, thank you.
Hey, you seem to be doing well, so keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable member, are you done with that one? Okay, 4. And Honorable Akwesi Kunedu will handle that one, please.
Minister, welcome.
Thank you.
With the financials, one with the statement of financial position and one with the statement of financial performance. And I'll take the latter first. It has to do with other incomes. That increased significantly, over 160%. 2021 was 683,000, but in 2022 it went up to 1.7 million. What is the component of that?
Chairman, the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences is a very important institution. And a month ago, the leadership called on me to see how government can increase their funding, particularly in the area of research, math, science, and engineering. If you see the leap from 683,000 to 1.7 million, it's attributable to support from the Ghana Education Trust Fund.
Oh, okay. But when you look on the statement of financial position, two things are striking. First is an increase in your current asset, and second, a decrease in your current liability. Such an inverse relationship, because once your current liabilities are reducing, it means either you are increasing and your liabilities are decreasing. There ought to be a certain fundamental arrangement in there. That is why I don't get it. What is making the current liabilities decrease? It means you are paying off either your debt, but however, your cash and cash equivalent, that is your current asset, keeps increasing. That inverse relationship is a bit interesting in finance, so I don't know what is happening.
Chairman, I won't go into an accounting detail with you.
Minister, yes, the current ratio is also improving, so it's good. Their statement is all right, and comparative change within it.
With that one, we'll go to Ghana Science Association, and it's on paragraph 624, and Honorable Hotoja will take care of that one.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we are looking at the financial performance of that they are surplus increased to 1,036,100 164,781, and these funds and government subvention. But if you look at the expenditure, it increased by to 1,117,000, and they say this was due to employee compensation and staff or promotions or what. They need to give me further clarification on that.
Chair, it will be a combination of factors, one and other related expenses.
To your financial position, your non-current asset decreased by 8.5%. That is it decreased 515 to 225,609. Then looking at your 300 also decreased 225. That is 4 points.
Paid by members of the it's also attributable to the depreciation charge. It simply means that the institution is capable of undertaking its financial obligations in its current standard. Thank you.
That's the more reason why I'm congratulating you.
Education Commission. And Honorable Abner Asare will take care of the financials.
Doc, it's been a while. I mean, when I used to be at the Ministry of Finance, he helped me. We worked together to make sure that the university funds had a very quiet temperature. So, yes. Yes. So, Professor Salifu and Dr. Jinopo. So I know them very well. I have gone through your account. 2022, from your accounts, you could pay your short-term liabilities by 3 times. But in 2023, it came down to 1:1. So I would want you to keep an eye on that to make sure either maintain this or improve. But you can't go below that. I think that's all I have for GTech. Yeah, thank you.
So, Chair, thank you very much. We know that the Commission is doing its best to regulate the tertiary education space of our country, education. But as you noted, part of their problem is making sure book and research allowance is paid on time, and that's always done in consultation with the Honorable Minister for Finance. And to deal with a major problem, many of the universities, Chair, are saying that when workers exit, they don't have the opportunity to replace them, and they have to wait and count on the Honorable Minister for Finance to give them clearance. Tertiary institution, and I pray that the relationship continue in order that we'll deal in the tertiary education space. Thank you, Chair.
Minister, maybe it's also because of the fact that when they exit, you don't see that reflecting there. So that is why sometimes they tend to struggle to give the attrition reflects in their compensation amount as well. So that you should work together on this and see how best you can replace, if not all, at least a number that will make the universities fit for
teach a particular course. Following the retirement a year that the Ministry of Finance does not respond, the university will be found wanting, and then students suffer. I think that
Chairman, Minister, my question goes to the GTech boss. He's been in the news for many reasons about titles, how people earn their titles. Explain to us what is happening.
Chairman, this matter is with his mandate and the law, and recognizes that whoever is affected by it will be pronounced as he is doing. A number of it will refer to council, and they are looking at it. I'm awaiting a report from the GTech Council.
Over here, overdue receivables of 1.3 million Ghana cedis. What has happened to this? And it started from 2017 all the way to 2020.
Institutions were served demand notice, and in addition, a debtors task force was considered to help in the recovery of debts. Accordingly, some 999,276 of the outstanding has so far been recovered. 9,206 out of the total amount of 1.3 million, leaving an outstanding of 308,194. These recoveries are supported by appropriate evidence. And going forward, Chairman, definitive timelines will be given for the payment of all fees to forestall future occurrences of institutional debt. Only those providing private tertiary education. If you don't have a charter, then you may have to fold up. Government is reviewing that position, and there may be a policy review of it to extend the moratorium, but certainly not to perpetuate that not every qualified Ghanaian student has the opportunity to be admitted into a public tertiary institution. They will be in denial if we were to be high-handed in terms of the regulation. But that's what the law requires him to do. So I may seek a review of the law in order that we extend the period of the charter and then learn from best practice. What happens in Australia, what happens in the US or UK? How are those private institutions able to cope with the public tertiary institutions? But Chairman, the joy is that in Ghana, more Ghanaian students of that age are accessing higher education, and that's good for our country. Thank you.
Honourable Minister, to a lay person like me, what?
Chair, it was to ensure tertiary education. One, infrastructure. Do they have enough good classrooms, lecture rooms, laboratories, and others? Two, faculty. What's the strength of their faculty? If the requirement is to be a PhD or a professor or an associate professor, do they have the minimum number of persons in that particular area? And then also there is accreditation of courses. The GTEC also issues accreditation of courses, whether the institution is readily prepared to undertake that particular course of training. If, say, for instance, you are providing higher education in biology and you don't have a laboratory or chemistry or physics, then GTEC is not likely to support you to undertake that activity. So in the law which was passed by Parliament and Chairperson, if we did that, apart from the students who will be affected, Ghanaians in the private sector who are church-related institutions, whether it's the Catholic Church or is the Pentecost Church or the Presbyterian Church, which is providing higher legislation, but not to perpetuate it. It won't be forever and ever. Then you keep saying that, give me more time. It cannot be. But at least let's give them some time, because the challenge is, how many students are there with a public tertiary education? So standards will not be compromised, but I think that we should allow them time and space to justify their expenditure and the training they are providing. Thank you.
Auditors, could you confirm the amount collected by GTEC?
Honorable Chair, a total of 999,276 CDs has so far been recovered, leaving a balance of 308.
Honorable Opoku Ansah will take care of the financials.
Minister, I'm looking at your financial performance and deficit. The report shows that the year ended 2023 with a deficit of some 5.76 million. And if you look at your financials, this is worse than the previous year. Are you able to tell the committee specific factors that led to this worsening deficit despite a 66.8% increase in your total income?
Honorable Opoku, just refer me to the paragraph. What I do know is those that are related to overdue withholding tax not remitted to the GRA as the main concern in the management report.
No, we are looking at your financials, and this.
Yes, Sin. Thank you. deficit of 5.7 as compared with a deficit of 4.2, representing a duration of 36.5% in its financial performance. The details of the authority performance in for the year are presented in Table 9.1. So, income. I'm not able to say same for the same period.
Significantly, and well, we've just
to 32 million.
I mean, we are wondering why your expenditure still outpace your income.
Of some library facilities in different parts of the country. That explains the increased expenditure of the Ghana Library Authority. And Chair, they can do more. I intend again coming to Parliament. We should borrow from the American experience of having presidential libraries across the country. Chair, the reading culture in Ghana needs to improve. I mean, if you travel abroad in the morning, everybody is holding a newspaper and catch your breath on the report. So we generally have to look at the reading culture of Ghana. Chair, I was in the Brown household. The Omahini of Sunyani invited me home and said, look, what does it take for government to complete the Sunyani Regional Library? I've gotten a similar request from the chiefs and people of Koforidua. What does it take? Then, Chair, you go to many of their schools, they do not have adequate and supportive libraries. We need to invest more in libraries. I'm seeking to come to Parliament to have at least every school, and probably if we have the resources, we should even be thinking about digital library for the student, whether secondary school or at whatever level. So, Chairman, what accounts for the increase in expenditure is driven largely by the need. And across the country, I was in the Upper East region. I was told that, for instance, even Regional Directorate of Education, no office to house them, Metro Director of Education, no office to house them, no library. Our children shouldn't just be in school. They must be in school to learn. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. And thank you for the efforts to increase libraries across the country. Let me now take you to your non-current assets. We also saw an increase, or we've seen an increase of about 94 revaluation and acquisition that was done. Are you able to tell these committees a bit of details? We want to find out why your non-current assets would increase by over 500%. What specifically did Ghana Library Authority do to...
In fact, Chair, one of the concepts I inherited is the Ghana Library Authority seeking to do public-private partnership. They have a lot of build a library and use a portion of their land, but that's still a matter we are discussing to see whether it's feasible and whether it guarantees value for money, particularly with the use of state and government lands. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman. That'll be all for me.
All right, thank you. Now let's go to management issue. And Honorable Enim will
Thank you, Chair. You withholding taxes to the tune of 1,023,860 Ghana cedis. And from the auditor's review, most of these withholding taxes were withheld from 2019 up to about 1 million. You look at the Institute EPP books, this was in 2022, EPP 2020, and the amount involved are quite significant. And you are not chasing for your certificates and for your credits. How are we managing this, Minister?
23860 is recovered. Indeed, management reached out to the Ghana Revenue Authority, and accordingly, 7th November 2024, 45,114, 13th August 2025, 52,000, then 14th October 2025, settled the outstanding withholding tax. But I essentially agree with you that that's not an acceptable and a good practice. We recognize that at the public reporting consistent with the financial reporting. Some 18,000 was paid, 15. So we have been proactive in ensuring that we don't allow for accumulation of outstanding withholding taxes. We ensure strict compliance to the directive of the Auditor General. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Minister. Auditors, can you confirm how much of this 1 million has been remitted so far? The total?
Honorable Chair, we can confirm that a total of 182,188.83 has been recovered. Thank you.
Minister, it looks like from the total the auditors confirm, we still have a significant amount to remit. We are looking at 1 million and auditors confirming 182,000. So we have so far almost about 800 and something thousand yet more to remit. So, Minister, if Ghana Library Authority can take steps to immediately remit this amount to GRA so that these institutions that have been withheld
Executive Director, I hope you are listening,
receive the tax credits for all these years. Because one thing that I think we have been considering for the past few weeks, a number of these infractions keep happening. And I ask myself, what are these institutions doing? Because if these institutions will put some bit of action into it and follow up with these institutions, I believe that it will push them to be able to remit these amounts to the GRA. Thank you.
Executive Director, Ghana Library Authority, you have to ensure respect and compliance. I'll follow through with him and his team. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The next one will go to his National Service Authority, National Service Scheme. And Honorable Abnao Siasar will handle.
To go on, but I will choose to set the record. I'm not responsible and I do not exercise oversight over the National Service.
So that is why I asked you.
And the President Mohammed's reset is more of a youth-related activity and accordingly have been placed under the oversight of the Honorable Minister for Youth and not the Ministry of Education. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We will let the appropriate ministry come and answer to this infraction. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Paragraph 666.
So, Minister, we'll be considering the financial performance and financial position of. We are still not doing well. For 2022, we had a deficit of over 5,204,000. Although there was some small improvement, but then it's still very bad situation because we cannot continue to put surpluses with how we spend within these institutions. I would want to look at the first item, compensation of for employees. It went up by the increase or improvement in staff strength, or this was as a result of some increases in bonuses and compensation to employees.
Chairman, thank you very much. It will be a combination of it, new recruitments, promotion, and payment of bonuses. And Chairman, the Ghana Student Loan Trust is now being repositioned by the President to undertake 3 major core social interventions of the Mahama administration. One, the payment of bursaries, or call it a no-fee stress, which Chair has made significant impact on the life of those students who otherwise, for being financially disadvantaged, may not have been able to pay their fees. Then 2, the Ghana Student Loan Trust now is also responsible for the disbursement of the no fees for persons with disability, a new rights-based approach to supporting persons with disability. Ghana Scholarship Authority, it is my view, trust fund end the scholarship authority. My view, even though I campaigned unsuccessfully, was that we should earmark 2.5% of oil revenue for human capital development and human resource development, so that into the future we could have what pertains in Sri Lanka, a Ghana bursaries and scholarship authority, so that one arm of it will be responsible for bursaries to pay it to a no fee stress category of persons. And then, Honorable Abuna, you guide us with your experience at the Ministry of Finance. So now you say no fee stress, most impactful initiative of President Mahama. Now, if in September, October, November, the Ministry of Finance is not able to release the money for student loan trust, it defeats the purpose of the intervention. You're asking the student to go and borrow. It's the same student who is in need, who doesn't have the support, who is in dire, urgent need of it. So earlier releases can be useful. See what scholarship will do, deal with this nepotism and chronism associated with allocation of scholarship, provide for some discipline. But as was lunch, I had good sleep that this was an impactful, meaningful social intervention of the president. And many of you see demands. So, but just to send a caution, Chairman, the Director General of GTEC is here. I've seen some schools increasing their fees because government says it's absorbing the stage of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. We are still on the financial performance. I want to understand one or two things here. From your revenue from exchange transactions, I see here interest income, which went up by about 48%. I just want to understand what form of or what kind of investments is SLTF involved in? What kind of investment that would be able to give you this amount, this increase of about 48%? What kind of investment are they into?
I'm sure normally they get releases from the Ghana Education Trust Fund, and then they deposit it in banks whilst processing payment. Arising out of it, some interest accrue, and that is accountable for what you've just mentioned. And Vice Chairman, I'm happy to this was not done. The President announced it when he launched the opportunity and facility for persons with disability. And then, Chairman, interest rate regime of the student loan trust. Now, a student gets a loan, that student gets out, have to go back to the simple interest regime, but also not jeopardizing the income security of those folks. But the student loan trust, I believe, is doing well. I've requested Get Fund to increase their budgetary allocation so that those, in addition of your no fee stress, and you think that you need an additional 5,000 or 10,000 to support your need, you can go back to the student loan trust, enter an arrangement with them, and you'll be supported. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I think that I asked this question because I saw the drop in your current ratio, which in financial sense, it makes a lot of sense because we are increasing our interest income, and that is something that will encourage that all these institutions will learn from and be able to adopt these good cash management practices. Thank you, Chair.
Chairman, the member is forcing me to behave like the chairperson, Abena. What is current ratio? Me, I know debit the receiver. We want to respond to that. All I remember is debit the receiver, credit the giver. I don't remember.
Honorable Minister, I would like to ask you a question on unreturned pickup vehicles loaned to national security. The auditors are saying that we cited a letter with reference number SCR/DC 28/554/ requesting for the release of the payment upon completion. We noted during our review of assets management that 100 brand new Isuzu pickup vehicles procured by the ministry in 2020 to be distributed to various SHS and other education institutions to facilitate teaching. Lieutenant Colonel Faustina Dennison with National Security on 28th of March 2020 and 29th of March 2020 to assist in the fight of COVID-19 pandemic. These vehicles have not been returned to the ministry after the pandemic ended. We also noted that no change of ownership was effected from the supplier's name, Mac Autos and Spare Parts Ghana Limited, into the ministry's name before the vehicles were released to the national security. And it gives a long list over here. We recommended that the chief director condition should be replaced by the national security, failing which the chief director should be held liable. Minister, what are...
But Chair, to assure you that it's important that we put your question had to go through some national emergency in containing COVID. And probably at the time, you couldn't have been waiting that go through procurement of 1 to 3 months to get vehicles to release to national security. They needed to give health services to those who required them. Chairman, I'm liaising with the Office of the Chief of Staff and the Office of National Security Coordinator for the retrieval of those vehicles. Chair, I'll share with you a letter edited and signed by me, which I forwarded to the National Security Coordinator to account for those vehicles, and I'll do follow up.
Okay, so looking at the debt fund, if you look at the revenue from exchange transactions, Minister, will you be the one answering the questions of GET fund?
Chairman, I'll attempt. If you are not satisfied, then the GET fund administrator himself will come in. But I'll attempt an answer. We'll be happy if you reschedule us to deal with the GET fund.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Akwesi Akwenedo has a question to ask.
Chairman, thank you very much. There's a very quick one. Minister, the Public Accounts Committee is one of the committees that is of very importance and relevance in our financial management arrangements in this country. Because once Parliament allocates monies to ministries, agencies, and departments, it's important that accountability, fairness, prudence, and transparency in its management is required. With your rich experience, I mean, I met you as a very long time. In just about, say, 3 sentences, how do you find this committee, and how do you think that in this 9th Parliament and goes and the people who are entrusted with the care of these resources?
Thank you very much, Honorable Akwesi Akwenedo. And if there is a medical person in this committee or in this room, growing up, I'm reminded that a flawless diagnosis at autopsy is impossible. So when the Public Accounts Committee, you are doing very well, and you've saved the country billions. Even the mere, for those of us with sociology background, the mere fact that he is to appear before public accounts operates as a social control measure. Officers' posture, and you are holding us accountable as required by the Constitution. I believe Article 187 have not been fair to the taxpayer. We ought to remember at all times that there will be dire consequences when you betray the public trust. Now refer to Article 1876. Recommend a committee in the public interest. So if from 1993 to yesterday, Parliament has not been responsive, that is an injustice to the Ghanaian people, in my view. But it doesn't take the Auditor General. He has done his work. It counts to you at public account. But again, Chairman, Ghana, we operate with law. There is a worrying supreme, forgive me, somebody wants to do a prosecution based on Public Accounts Committee. The Supreme Court ruling, nothing happened, no committee. The Supreme Court and the courts of Ghana will be guided. So my advice to your committee is not just your committee, but Parliament. I know President Mahama recently announced that he was going to engage with Auditor General, the Chief Justice, I think you should extend it to include the Speaker of Parliament, so that the trial will have a discussion how to move beyond Parliament. There are many things. 1993, the Constitution guaranteed that, including spousal rights. We've gone to sleep on it. Since 93, you don't have legislation governing that. So my advice is that, in fact, in Australia, the Auditor General sits in Parliament. That's how important they view the work you are doing in some Parliament. In fact, the best ally when the harm has been done, then Abena, the able chair, will accountability. From the days of Skandapa, Salas Mensa to Abena Asari, you are doing a good job in holding public officials accountable to respect the public financial. Will be minded that they need to protect the public purse and guarantee value for money. I think that would be useful. Thank you.
Yeah, Minister, thank you very much. But we always, I don't think in their position they would want to do it after the harm has been done. But their mandate says that they will have to audit efficiently. Beyond what they also do, we can help to bring the many infractions that they are cited at the end of the year down if we enforce the sanctions. If we are able to enforce those sanctions, when their mandate is to look at things at the end of the year and they come, we will see the number of things, the number of infractions we are seeing. So beyond what we do, we should also make sure the systems and the processes that have been set in the law for proper use of public resources, we should ensure that they work. And once they work, I believe that with your suggestion that Parliament, the judiciary, legislature, and the executive should work together in conjunction. It is us, and it is also enforcing the laws as it's supposed to be.
Chair and Honorable, but I know we're not saying that there shouldn't be efficiency. Internal controls need to be strengthened. But what I'm saying is that don't wait until the body is in the mortuary and you say you want to find out why it is in the. But I'm guided. So we leave it to you to do your post public expenditure scrutiny. That is your mandate. But I agree with you that we should strengthen internal controls and emphasize more on preventing many of these infractions. By your committee in the last decade and two have saved the state billions of Ghana cedis, and you can do better. I thank you.
To come. First and foremost, it's good that you bring our attention to Article 1866 and 1876, reactivating that to make sure that another committee within it comes to do a follow-up on those ones is very important. But secondly, you made a point about post-mortem. However, I don't know how it may sound in the minds of public officials listening, but they must bear in mind, post-mortem is important, and every single infraction that the Auditor General raises, every single infraction ends up becoming criminal infractions, and criminality has no limitation. So regardless of it being post-mortem, that is what the statute says. It must be done at the end of the financial year, so that the infractions that you commit will then be brought here to be expatiated on. And remember that it has no time limit. That is why at times we can even sit to consider 2021 reports. So regardless of it being post-mortem, we still have the mandate to pursue anybody who causes financial burden to the state unwarranted. Thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. I can only say I concur with the Honourable Member. Thank you.
Honourable Minister, thank you so much appearing before the committee to answer these questions. You and your ministry, you are discharged. to tell the truth, please. Shall they take the oath?
I,
Samuel Nati George,
swear by the Almighty God
swear by the Almighty God
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
touching the matter in issue shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Honorable Minister, could you introduce yourself and the other members of the...
Member of Parliament for Dingo Prampram and Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation. I'm joined this morning by the Honorable Adams Mohammed Suparu, Member of Parliament for Sisala West and Deputy Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation. We have the Chief Director, Mr. Yao Alexander Afo of the Ministry. We also have the Director of Finance.
Minister, I'm sorry, we would like to hear...
Member of Parliament for Sisala West, and also Deputy Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman. My name is Alexander Yao Afo, Chief Director, Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations.
Good morning, Chairman. Please, my name is Sylvia Amoro. I'm the Director of Finance, Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. My name is Jifa Gunu, Chief Executive of Ghana Digital Centers.
Good morning, Chairman. My name is Stephen Kingsley Benier, Deputy Managing Director, Finance and Administration, Ghana Post Company Limited.
Good morning. My name is Cosmas Ampengno, Acting Executive Secretary, Postal and Courier Services Regulatory Commission.
Good morning, Chairman. My name is Rita Sraha, Managing Director, Ghana Post.
Okay, we'll start your financials with Postal and Courier Services, and Honorable OPK will... Honorable Minister, we have a lot of things to clear with you before we start. And let me start with non-payment of yearly advance of $6 million. And I'm quoting from the report of the Auditor General on the public accounts of Ghana, ministries, departments, and other agencies for the year ended. There was a contract of commercialization of e-government infrastructure between Ministry of Communications and Digitalization. That was the name during her government's time. Now we have changed the name.
You said what?
No. And infrastructure. And Lebara Ghana Limited, signed on August 15, 2018, says that during the term of the initial 5-year period of the contract, Lebara Ghana shall make an advance payment of $2 million for the first year, and thereafter a yearly advance payment of $1 million to Ministry of Communications and Digitalization, rights and responsibilities to Smart Infraco. We noted that between 2020 and 2024, Smart Infraco, a special purpose vehicle, failed to remit to the ministry a total amount of $6 million as yearly advance payment, which becomes due on the first quarter of each year. And then it has a yes over here. 2020, $2 million not paid. 2021, $1 million not paid. The chief director should recover the total amount of $6 million with interest at the prevailing Bank of Ghana rate from Smart Infraco, failing which remedies as stipulated in the contract should be activated. Minister, what says you?
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, this contract served on the board of the National IT at the time when that board approved for the then MD to engage Libara. The contract was not consummated before we left office in 2016, and the Akufo-Addo government took the. We have been appraised of addendums to the original contract. Addendums which have sought to alter the letter and spirit of the original contract. The original contract was for Libara Ghana, a private company, to commercialize the excess capacity of one administration. And so we asked that the infrastructure of NITA should be commercialized and there should be a profit sharing between the private entity and NITA. However, we were very clear that it should be on new business. So NITA already had a number of government agencies as its client. That business was supposed to be exempt from this commercialization because this new entity was not going to be bringing in this new business. But for example, on the Eastern Corridor Fiber, you had 48 core, and at that time we were using less than 6 core. And so to commercialize the rest of the infrastructure, we said we needed a private vehicle to do this. There were 120 LTE base stations which we thought could be commercialized. Mr. Chair, or Madam Chair, it's become evident to us that there have been 2 addendums, infrastructure to this private entity. In fact, an SPV was set up called Smart Infraco that took over all rights of Libara Ghana. Now, I have referred this to the Attorney General for his advice, and so, but the issues we have raised for the Attorney General to advise us on is that the terms of the original contract stated that Libara could not assign more than 20% of their rights to a third party. Now, the current situation, the other issue that arises is the fact that when we took over the ministry and there was the need to change passwords for some government agencies, it became clear to me, and unfortunately my Director General for NITA is not here, he's a bit under the weather. NITA had no access to the National Data Center.
Minister, you mentioned that the terms had changed in one breath, and in another breath you also said that they had also amended the main contract. So isn't the change of terms, wasn't it as a result of the amendment of the original contract?
Exactly so, Madam Chair. But again, I leave this for the advice of the Attorney General and the lawyers, that you cannot alter the terms of a parent contract in such a manner that vitiates the intent of the original contract. Because the original contract said you could not assign more than 20%. Now you have a situation where you've done an addendum that has taken over the entire rights and handed them over. So again, that's a question for the lawyers to determine if that is legally right and permissible by our laws. But the change in the terms are on the basis of that addendum. Now the question is, against the spirit and letter of the original contract, is that admissible? The fact that it was signed, is it legally tenable? And is that's a matter for the Attorney General that we've written to. But the point I was making was when we took over office and when I was appointed in February 2025, we realized that NITA, the National IT Agency, had absolutely no access to the National Data Center, and for them to be able to effect the changes, they needed meeting, and now NITA has root access to the National Data Center and has physical access as well to the data center. On the issue of the 6 million, that was part of the original contract. Now, my understanding from the briefings we've received is that Smart Infraco says they spent money doing rectification of the infrastructure that they to NITA. My position as minister has been clear. You have an obligation under the contract, meet those obligations. Let that be authenticated and verified, and then let's see the terms of the contract. Did the terms of the agreement say that you were supposed to take the infrastructure in situ the way it was? Or were you supposed to take it and rectify it at the expense of the state? Those are questions that need to be settled. So this 6 million is owed the state, and we've written to the Attorney General to advise us on the steps to reclaim this $6 million. But Mr. Chair, the last point I will make is that I believe that this matter is of grave national importance because we speak. The country is aware of what's going on with the Ministry of Health and the LIMS contract. Mr. Chair, the Ministry of Health has reached out to us to provide some support for the stopgap measure they want to do. Now, we are being told that that contract, which is not being, or this service that we are going to render from the National Data Center to the Ministry of Health, must be signed with this private entity and payments made to the private entity. And so I have written officially to the Director General of NITA, instructing him to engage the Ministry of Health directly and not through the private entity, because the assets is the property of the services too. If any payments will be made, it will be made to NITA directly. The terms of the contract must be that Smart Infraco should go and bring new contracts and new jobs and share revenue, and not that they sit back and then our government asset has been handed over to a private entity and they are commercializing it and taking all the revenue. This is what I inherited, and this is what we're trying to fix.
Thank you very much, Minister. I can understand the explanations you are giving to this committee. It sounds to me like a policy direction that you want to undertake. When the report came before this committee, we wrote to the companies involved, and they have also given us their response. But just so we are all on the same page and we do not take these things so lightly, I want to read to you that the report from Smart Infraco, they claim that clause 6 required that Smart Infraco restored all infrastructure within 12 months using its own capital. They also claim in clause 6.4 that the company was allowed to deduct 12 of the same report. It also states that there was a second addendum which overrides the original contract in case of concern with changes in contracts and all of that. But with a few contract law that we've learned, this is a clear case of novation. One company, one private company moving to the other. Because they are not here, and because it also involves some legal documents and all of that, that is why we're also reading to you the response that they have given to this committee. So I want to find out from you if you have an idea of what the company is saying, and that the clauses that they claim, especially clause 6 and 12, are contained in the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. I've just pulled out the contract, and I'm going to read the original contract, the parent contract. I'm going to read clause 4, and the heading for 4 is cost and risk. 4.1 says, save the procurement of an irrevocable bank guarantee or letters of credit and risk. So now this means that whatever cost was supposed to arise out of the execution of the contract, this is clearly stated here, and like you said, contract law, clause 4.1, would be at the instance of Libara Ghana, the parent company, the company that we signed the contract with. So, you see, we need to be minded as public office holders there. So if the original contract says that any cost and risk associated with the execution of this contract is at the expense of the private party, and then and say that she's transferring that cost and risk from the private entity to the Ghanaian taxpayer, there must be proper justification for same. And the view that whatever was agreed in the parent contract, which is the 6 million we are talking about here for the first 5 years, should be paid to the tax kitty. If there are any conversations to be had about whether there's an addendum that has shifted liability for cost, we can then have that conversation. But to deprive the taxpayer of this anticipated revenue on the back of a policy directive, I think may be problematic.
See, Minister, I mean, we are not here to want to defend any past government official, and I can understand. I mean, once the new government takes over, there's a new direction, and from how you speak, we realize that probably maybe you would want NITA to take a different direction with respect to this contract. But signed somewhere in 2018 with Libara is what you are making references to. But I also want to bring to your attention that in 2020, this same contract was novated to Smart Infraco Limited. And this was with approval of all parties. And of course, in terms of contracts, addendums and variations are always, all parties have come into a certain agreement. And I also know that you are aware, because we have with us a due diligence report that was conducted by Tata Communications Limited, and we've been provided with, but so that you know that addendums in contracts are not illegal. They are not unlawful. It happens every day in contracts. And so let's speak to what exactly we have that got varied along the line.
I must also admit that in the response that they gave to us, Smart Infraco admits that they owe. The report that they gave to us on page 5 of 8, it says that Smart Infraco acknowledges the outstanding amount of $1 million, in addition to a balance of $162,518, and which has been featured in the accounts and submitted to the ministry. So there is some liability that they themselves have acknowledged, a change in the advance payment. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I have read, they are saying that the addendum that they made to the original contract, the variation that they made to the original contract, necessitated a change in the advance payments. But you can correct me if I'm wrong. But this is what is in front of him. But you can correct me if I'm wrong, Minister.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, you are absolutely correct that is the position of Smart Infraco. This is what the original contract was. We have chosen to subject that to the Attorney General's advice. And that's why I'm saying that if today you have a report which we are not privy to, the document you reference as a response from Smart Infraco to the committee, we haven't seen at the ministry, it comes back to support my initial submission and position that the 6 million ought to be paid to the states are now being made on the back of the addendum, not because the parent contract says that all the cost and risk should be borne by the parliament. Because that's why they are saying that they don't owe 6 million. The cost that they claim they spent million, but 1 million and about 100 must be subject to the private entity.
As for that one, I agree with you 100%.
Thank you. And so the
agree
point
with you
is
that we should validate the costs that they claim they charged, the profits that they earned, and then to find out truly if that was so, and then we can make progress and see where the other. But truly, I understand that we need to validate the costs involved.
That's the point of the ministry.
I have gone through the reports myself, and then in a couple of in certain years, you see the revenue and then you see the costs. They charge the costs that they said they have incurred to the revenue, and we end up, when I say we, I mean government ends up owing. Strongly believe that yes, we should validate, and so as for we validating the revenues after the addendum or the renewal, the tweaking of the contracts, I believe that we should look at it and put it in perspective. Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm happy that we are in agreement that there needs to be a validation of the claims, and then we on the back of that decide how to proceed. But bottom line is, so long we will begin to charge interest at prevailing bank rates because you are holding government revenue. So it's best that they submit what is owed to the state whilst we do the validation. Because if the longer they hold it, to settle the Auditor General, we would have to surcharge them the interest on the monies that they are holding at the prevailing bank rate.
Yeah, thank you. But, Minister, are you able to provide this committee copies of the original contract, the various variations that happen along the value chain, I mean, i.e. the various addendums, the first one and the second one, so that we can run that alongside the response that they gave us and the due diligence so that the committee can arrive? We need those documents from you. Can you assure the committee of these documents?
Madam Chair, if I'm up to you electronically right now,
we will be very
before I rise from the chair,
we'll be very
you can have the Secretariat print. So I'm just going to forward it to Madam Chair and yourself.
Right, thank you.
You see, honorable members, what we need to look at is what there's been a change here or there. Pay the money, and then afterwards we'll look at anything else that they have. Now the second question. Okay, OPK, then ask your second question. Okay, hold on.
The minister has just sworn an oath. You are disrupting our meeting.
Honorable, you are a member of you are a very good you are a solid member of this committee. We appreciate that, but you just took an oath, and that, yes. So initially your minister wanted to find out from you if you were part of him or you.
Chairman, like my colleague OPK Riley said, I am a member of the committee, and we are speaking to an audit report. But I heard my colleague reading from a report from the company that we are discussing, a report to him alone, and not to all the members of the committee. If you have a copy, I, as a member, I do not have a copy. Please, I'm coming. I think that there were recommendations by the auditors who audited the ministries, and they recommended that an amount of $6 million should be retrieved from the said company. We are speaking to the report. My colleague, I was expecting him to ask the auditors what were their point of references when they were conducting that audit. He chose to ignore, and he spoke to a document before him. And he was asking questions or reading to the minister from document that is only presented to him alone. And I don't know where he got the document from.
Honorable member.
Which, Mr. Chairman, please, if you can allow me to land. I appeared here.
Yeah.
I represented my minister. And you gave a specific instructions that you didn't tell me that the company should write to the committee. You said the chief director, the finance director, and the company involved, you wanted them here. I am surprised that I am here to assist my minister, and my colleague is actually reading from a report purported to be coming from the company. And so when you do that, and the auditors are sitting here, I seem to be lost. So I don't know which one we are speaking to.
Honorable member, a very good standing member of the committee. So whatever that company has written or not, we are going through Auditor General's report. And as the minister said, he has consulted the Attorney General to advise on it. So that's where we are going. So Attorney General will advise on it, and then we'll go by what the Auditor General.
Whatever we discuss here is being captured.
Honorable member, that's the way we are going. We are going by the Auditor General's report.
Mr. Chair, the truth of the matter is that this committee wrote a letter to the companies in question. In fact, we've written letters to Libara, we've written letters to Smart Infraco. First was for them to appear before this committee, and they gave us a detailed response, and this came from Smart Infraco because, I mean, like we all said, the initial contract was between the state and Libara, but later it was novated to Smart Infraco. You may ask for copies of that. These documents came on Friday. These documents came to this committee on Friday. And the only thing that you needed to do as a member was to ask your leader, ask me on an oath to be a member of the ministry, and now you are challenging on a committee works. I don't think it is proper. I mean, nothing untoward has happened. And what we seek to do is to find out.
Honorable members, I have ruled on it. We are going by what the Auditor General has given us. And if we have any issues, the ministry has any issues, you are going through the Attorney General. Let it stay the way that it is. Yes, Honorable Minister.
Chairman, just to announce that per the request that came, I have forwarded to yourself, the chair and the deputy vice chair, the original contract, the first addendum and the second addendum. I've sent them electronically to you. I would be grateful if you can confirm receipt of same.
Yes, I can confirm receipts of those reports. And I think it's the same contracts. That's Smart Infraco and the other 6. That is final. This is just a word of advice, because I have also been where I have been a deputy minister, and usually when we go out and your minister speaks, it is final. This is just a word of advice. And I think you spoke to us clearly. You said you were going to carry out Auditor General's report, so that irrespective of what has been said here, it is the Auditor General's report that we are following. I also made I agreed with you on certain portions of it that clearly, for me, I'm not comfortable with the whole costs being applied to the way to the revenue the way it was done. So I also agree with whatever it is, and then we can make progress and move forward. That should have been the end of the discussion. So, Minister, thank you very much. Just a word of advice. We've been there.
Okay, let's make progress. Let's go to the next infraction. It's on paragraph 1471, and OPK will handle that one.
And this has to do with 175 Ghana cedis. Minister, December 20th, 2023, your ministry paid 6,755,174.94 to Smart Infraco Limited for a connectivity platform. The issues the auditors have with this payment is that there were no supporting documents, no evidence of services rendered, no certificate of work done, and no expenditure justification. Are you able to tell this committee if I mean,
just so that the records bear this out, this did not happen under Sam George, but at the ministry, yes, by my predecessor. in 2023. This happened in 2023, just so that the records bear us out clear, because we wouldn't superintend over such action. But we have followed up. We've followed up, and NITA which is the implementing agency on this project. The letter by which they send that to us is NITA/MOCD/VAS/20/12/20 verification. I don't know if they received it and what the status of that is, but NITA has provided us some documentation relative service. Pending their authority, then we'll need to further dig into that matter.
Auditors, are you able to confirm whether or not you received documentations to the effect of these payments? The minister is is a digitized man, so he can send you soft copy. This is why you haven't had copy.
Again, if they want us to provide of the auditors, but then it has to be authenticated and verified. But this is what we've received, and we have a copy here.
Thank you. And you see, Minister, Martin Fako gave us, probably maybe we could to them, but they claim that they could justify for the payment. No, I'm coming. They also claim that the Auditor General's report miscalculated or misclassified the payment, arguing that it was not part of the e-government infrastructure commercialization contract, but rather a different project altogether. And so we'll share with you their response. We'll share with the auditors their response so that we can reconcile and have a certain agreement with respect to this, so that we know what the real challenge is. What is it that if we have to make any reference to the Auditor General, to the Attorney General, what is it specifically that we are doing? Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, I am guided, and I'm grateful to get a copy of the responses. However, I just want to make the point clear. My fidelity is to the state, is not to a company. And once my fidelity is to the state, as a member of Parliament myself, and a form of rendition and response, but the Auditor General of Ghana's report. And so long as the Auditor General of Ghana has raised questions about that payment, even if the private company thinks that they have challenges, they can have redress to the courts, to have redress to the courts to clear their names. And sitting in this committee as a member, we've had cause to ask companies to go to court to clear their name and challenge the decisions of the Auditor General. But sitting in this chair as Minister of State, my fidelity is to the Ghanaian people and the Auditor General's report, and that says that that payment was questionable. We have raised the documentation that we have found. I think that we should allow the Auditor General to verify and authenticate and vet it. And then on the basis of the rule of the decision of the Auditor General, we can proceed, but not on the opinion of a private company. Thank you.
Certainly, we agree with you 100%. I mean, we sit here with a sole aim to protect the public purse. How we do that, I mean, we won't be members of this committee, is that we interrogate the matter beyond what the Auditor General has given us. Then we can now report to Parliament, the plenary, what indeed the Auditor General meant in the committee. In doing so, your feedback, that of the Auditor General, and in this case, the last reference where we brought on board the companies, all matter. So we respect your response. We also appreciate the response from the company. We also rely heavily on what the Auditor General tells us. Then we can now conclude. And that is why I was making reference to the
Numna zamanu tambo zanjanda taliyabam simple na wanda so.
Ɗaya daga cikin muhimman rawa na a zo a gani da Hausawa suka taka a cikin wannan ƙasa shine kafa zangonnai da suka zama gimshiki na cibiyoyin kasuwanci da fatauci. Ko shakka babu shi ke karfafa ingantacciyar tattalin arziki da kuma karfafa al'adun gargajiya.
Percent in your financial statement. Are you able to give reasons for this decline?
Because this predates us coming into the office, but the understanding we have is that in 2021 there was some level of enforcement act. People come and register to stay on track, and so that would have accounted for the spike you saw in 2021 vis-a-vis earnings. But again, like I said, these are based on information available to us since we're not in the seat at the time.
Thank you, and I appreciate your response. But if you look at the statement, it looks like in 2021, yes, but if you take a look at your internally generated funds, there seem to be some very slight, about 19, the Ministry of Finance, and what comes to you? Yes, so
with the greatest of respect, I think that Honorable Abina would have been the best person to answer this question. She was Deputy Finance Minister or Minister of State at the Finance Ministry at the time. She decided with her former boss not to give financial clearance for replacement of staff, and that's what led to the drop in the compensation vote. So this is a question that Abina should be answering, not me.
You are out of order.
Minister, financials. Minister, your income also decreased some 35%, and the auditors say it was mainly due to decrease in government subvention. I think we have addressed this now in the Postal and Courier Services Regulatory Commission to ensure that they rely heavily on their IGF instead of relying on government to be giving them funds. What is it that we are doing there?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. We've undertaken a holistic review of the Postal and Courier Services Regulatory Commission as part of our broader policy overhaul that we're doing. We're currently reviewing their legislation. It's part of the proposals are to move them just beyond postal and courier to even take care of logistical services. Because when you look at the evolution of time right now, you realize that a lot of logistical service, they're not captured by the transporters, and they're also not captured by the postal and courier area. So we're looking to fine-tune the legislation to ensure that we make it postal, courier, and logistical services regulatory commission. That work is going on. It will come. We've put out the request for inputs. At the ministry, we put out the bill, the draft bill, and asked people to make their inputs. But a few months ago, the commission decided to start rapid enforcement of registration. And I had cause to speak to the commission to halt the process because we thought that there was the need for further stakeholder engagements. Let us be clear. We would instill enforcement of the laws for courier services. We can't have a situation where we've had instances where people have ordered food, for example, and the food arrives and the meat on the food has been eaten. You know, people order things and courier companies do not deliver them in the manner in which they ought to. So we need to have some regulation of the space, and you can only enforce this in collaboration with the Ghana Police Service. But what we've chosen to do is to put a moratorium. We spoke with the board and the executive secretary. We've put a moratorium till the end of the year for everyone to get themselves licensed, either as an independent operator or under a fleet management operation certification. And then what we've also done is, I've made the case to the Postal and Courier Services that we're looking at the job of young men and women. And when I met with the Postal and Courier unions, the associations, with the MD and the board, one of them told, I said, look, don't look at us as criminals. See us as hustlers who are struggling to survive. Because many of these young men who do courier services, but for that job, will be unemployed and will pose a security risk to our country. So we've spoken to them and said, instead of charging, 1,070 Ghana cedis to register in one go, we've decided that we're giving them a 50% moratorium on the 1,000 Ghana cedi to allow proper uptake. Because the reality is, if you say a motor rider who most likely earns 50 cedis as his take home, because again, people should not look at what they charge per delivery. The motorbikes don't belong to them. They pay. And so at the end of the day, the person goes home with 50 Ghana cedi. If you are charging him 1,000 Ghana cedi, that's 200 days worth of earnings.
Sir, please, are they under the Fees and Charges Act? If they are they supposed to charge that amount for?
It's been approved under the Fees and Charges, and so we're working to drop it in the current fees and charges that will come, and that's why we've put a moratorium on enforcement, and then said that once we are able to, we would expect that all of them do the needful and register. Enforcement, we announced, will start on the 1st of April 2026. So we're hoping to get the fees dropped in the fees and charges, because again, like I'm saying, if you look at the reality, those fees appear to be too punitive. If you're asking a rider to pay equivalent of 200 working days of his earnings as a regulatory fee, that in itself lends to people, creates USSD codes where people don't have to walk or ride to their offices before they can register. You can register using a short code and your Momo and get the PIN. And then we've also asked them to, just like the insurance companies have done, where the police are able to check, in this case with the chassis number of the motorbike or the tricycle, if they enter it into the system, it will show whether they are a valid license holder or not, so that the harassment of these young men on the road will cease. We want to enforce the law, but we want to do it with a human face.
I reserve my comments for now.
What is it like? For instance, I know that now people do no longer go to the passport office to pick their passport. Do you have any race that you should consider? Yeah.
Well, Madam Chair, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is responsible for the passports. My respectable brother and colleague, Honorable Samuel, tender the postal NCA as a regulator, and if we had the courier services of the passports. But we asked Ghana Post to put a bid. They did, and they won in 7 out of 16 regions. However, in reality, the Ghana Postal Company, Ghana Post, is doing the delivery in all 16 regions. Because even those who won the other lots are relying on Ghana Post infrastructure to do the delivery. So Ghana Post, and because of that project that we are executing for the passport office, and if I'm not mistaken, we've delivered over 70,000 passports, close to 80,000 passports in less than 6 months of running this operation. Ghana Post has had to retool and get more riders. So we've picked up a few of these young men under the Ghana Post, retooled, we're retooling and trying to even expand our fleet, but we're working on it. But then Ghana Post is regulated by the Postal and Courier Services Commission.
Yes, I understand all of this. My interest was the last bit of your response. How we are able to get these young boys somewhat. Most of these young boys will now get something formalized, and be earning.
All right, let's move to the next, let's move to the infraction. Management issue, failure to declare assets and liabilities. Section 1 of the Public Office Holders Declaration of Assets and Disqualification Act, 1998, Act 550, also states that a person who holds public office mentioned in Section 3 of this Act shall submit to the Auditor General a written declaration of all properties and or assets owned by him and all liabilities owed by him at the end of every 4 years and at the end of the term of his office, and shall in any event be submitted not later than 6 months of the occurrence of any of the events specified in this subsection. These 3 people were supposed to declare their assets. Hamdratu Musa Saka, Deputy Executive Secretary. John Olite Otute.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, 2 of the persons are no longer with the Commission. The first person, Hamdiatu, who used to be the Executive Secretary, and then the second person, Loratu, who used to be the Deputy Commission. And so we are unable to reach them to submit their report. Honorable Chair, I'm saying that there are 3 individuals. The first was the Executive Secretary, Madam Hamdiatu, who is no longer with the Commission. The second person is Loratu, who was Deputy Executive Secretary and a member of the MPP's communication team, who has also left in regulation. He is still with the Commission, and we have ensured that he has submitted, done the declaration of his assets, and we have here a copy of the receipts from the Ghana Audit Service. I don't know if the auditors have it, but we are ready to submit this as well.
Person.
Yes, Honorable Chair, the third person had assets. Thank you very much.
All right. Let's go to Ghana Digital Centers Limited, and Honorable Abna Osiasare will handle the financials. It's on paragraph 925.
Okay, so this is the point. So I have stated that for you. You don't need to state it when you are answering any question, Minister. Minister, I think I don't have much issues with them, except that they are, previously in 2022, they could cover their short-term liabilities by 3 expenditure. I looked at their profit, and it looks like they are rather increasing their loss. 2022, they made a loss of 4 million. 2023, a loss of 4.2 million. So that's that they check these things because the ministry carry out its mandate. So they should look at whatever it is that is taking away so much in terms of expenditure and try as much as possible to fit within the revenues that they raise. Minister, I think on the whole, that's the piece of advice I want to give to Ghana Digital Center. That a lot depends on them. They can do a lot. But the fact that they are raising revenue doesn't mean they should spend all the revenues that they are raising. But they should put some to good use and make sure they correct the loss situation and also bring their current ratio status to what it was or even better for what it was in 2022 or even better than 2022. But they shouldn't see a drop. That's what I have to say. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman, and the point you make is very clear. And I was just mentioning to the current chief executive that this is the reason why I have declined 2 trips of his already this year. Because if you look at the problem in loss making, if you look at the 2022 to 2023 revenue, they actually improved their revenue remarkably from 8.8 million to 22.8 million.
Wow.
So remarkable increase.
Yeah.
However, when you look at their expenditure, from 12.8 million, they jumped to 27 million. A large chunk of that was spent on travels.
Expenses.
Yes, travels.
So that's why I'm saying they should work on reducing the expenditure.
And I can assure you that under the reset agenda of President John Dramani Mahama, that is actually in full swing. We've cut down a number of travels from the agency to ensure that places where, when the GDCL, for example, Miss Geek, Ghana, we had a representative who was supposed to be in Rwanda. As well, I'm sure you would have seen a video of myself supporting kids from my Redeemer School in Geneva, where Ghana placed 3rd in a robotic thing. That was supported by GDCL. Previously, you would have had 6 or 7 people from GDCL escorting one person. Now, what we've done is it's only one person. In Geneva, it was only the chief executive. In Rwanda, it was only the deputy chief executive. So, prudent management of taxpayers' money is what will help us improve our ratio back to where it ought to be under the reset agenda. Thank you.
That it will reflect in the 2025 audit.
Thank you, Chair. This infraction has to do with outstanding rent. 7 tenants owed you rent, totaling an amount of 180,421.99 as at 31st December 2023. This has affected your operations in a way.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We have taken prudent steps as part of our accountable governance agency. I would run through each company and what the status has been. 1, technical surplus. They left the the digital center in the second quarter of 2024. They had an outstanding debt of the debts. The company is unresponsive, and so we are LC. The entity is still, as at 29th of October, about 4 or 5 days ago, their total outstanding debt is now sitting at 61,267, has been able to recover 45,000 Ghana cedis and is on track to recover the outstanding 26,000 Ghana cedis that, 16,000 Ghana cedis that's left. 3, with some kind everything to reach out to them, they have terminated their tenancy without taking steps to find an officer of the company or any asset of the company that we can raise legal actions on. 4, MW Technologies. The debts for begin legal action against them. Old debt has been, management is working with them to get that payment for this year. 6 is Kudigo Limited. Current outstanding debt is 54,578 cedi 16 pesos. The last made payment on the 13th of August 2024 of the amount of 21,400 is a staff, but he says he's not responsible for settling the debt. He's forwarded an email to us. We've sent an email and again issued a demand notice. After we failure to pay the outstanding balance, we would initiate legal action. And the 7th one is Sibacor Limited. The outstanding balance remains, phone numbers are inactive. If, as and when we're able to find any assets or persons associated to the company, we will exact recovery. Thank you, Chair.
Auditor General, can you please confirm these payments from your end?
Fraction in the report. Subsequent to that, what they have recovered is 29,000 cedis. But like the minister said, some of them have accrued more debts. But what we have after the infraction is a 29,000 recovery that has been made. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you very much. Now let's go to Ghana Post. And Honorable Enim Ernest will take care of 939.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Ghana Post will be looking at your financial piece. The increases in your expenditure, what accounted for that high increase in expenditure for 2020? What accounted for that high increase in expenditure for 2023?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the answer is very simple in one word: the mismanagement of the economy by the Akufo-Addo administration. Because a lot of the increases, Ghana Post pays a lot of airlines for the transporting of the parcels that we send to Europe and the United States, and we pay that in dollars. So when you saw the mismanagement when Ken Ofori-Atta, Abina, and co were at the finance ministry, and Dr. Bawumia in charge of the economic management team, you then saw that...
Respectful Minister, stop it right there. Just go straight to your question and answer, and don't be name calling. You understand? Minister, please answer the question. Oh, when this was there, Minister, I don't think that is how we should be here. You are here, you have been here before. I have been where you are before.
I'm guided,
Let's just
Chairman.
go straight to the point.
I'm guided, Chairman.
Thank you.
So in a fee of $100 to an airline, and the exchange rate was 8. Our expenditure would have been 800 cedis. And then when it went to 16 in 2023, you then have the challenge that your expenditure now becomes 1,600. So that's what accounted for that. So it's the forex losses, yeah. But I'm sure that when you see the 2025 financials, you realize that even though we are doing more volumes, our expenditure would have dropped, because now with a better, stronger CD that's trading very favorably, you
indicated that the bottom line for 2023 improved from a loss position of 1.2 million. We are looking at the respective officers at these institutions. So going forward, we are looking at how best we can keep costs down. So we'll move on to the financial position, Minister. I can see that they improved slightly on their ratios, but then it's still not enough to be able to meet their short-term liabilities. So I would encourage that going forward, we pay attention to some of these things, so at least we don't get into situations like this. Thank you, Chair.
We are guided, Chair, and I can assure you that, 2022 as well, in all fairness to the previous administration, was also a recovery period. So the revenues were now picking up again, because in 2021, don't forget there was COVID. And so once they were up, and so you then saw them go back to full profitability in 2023. So that's why you see the profit margin. But then the point is, the profit could have been more if the forex thing was also low. So yeah.
Minister, it's not just the forex.
Say if they had reduced the expenditure.
Minister, there's continuity in government, so you better stop that and move on. Yes. Minister, what we have seen consistently, it was only Minerals Commission, where when they realized they were making losses, they decided to reduce their expenditure. And when they came in here, we commended them, but I knew it voted for you. But Minister, the issue is not to do with just the exchange losses, that will surprise you. So it's not just about the exchange losses, but there are other expenditures that are in there that ought not to be there. You sat here and told us how you are helping Ghana Digital Center to reduce their expenditure, because they usually would have flown 6 people for just one event with one person. So these are the other things that we should be looking at, because other equally important things that I believe we should spend some time to help them with, like you are helping GDCL, help them with, and that should help them reduce. That's a note of caution to Minister, your agencies.
MD,
yes.
This is advice from the chair through me to you. You are guided. You want to take it as policy position.
All right. Let's go to the infractions. Unretired impress of 59,877. Have we retired this impress?
Has been retired and submitted to the Auditor Generals for verification in May 2025.
Auditors, could you confirm, please?
Honorable Chair, we can confirm that the impress has been retired. Thank you.
Thank you. The next infraction is on paragraph 953, and Honorable Akwesi Kunedu will handle that one.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman, this infraction has to do with the renovation of the Bekwai Post Office. And the auditors found that 4,740
submitted during his meeting on the 16th of November 2024, and that has been submitted to the Auditor Generals for verification.
Auditors, can you please confirm for us if that has been done?
Honorable Chair, the variation was subsequently
paragraph 958, and Honorable Shirley Che will take care of that one.
Thank you. This is to do with Procurement Financial Management Act 2016. are to maintain good governance and management practices. The Public Procurement Authority reference letter PPA CEO 10/2491/23 made it mandatory for covered entities and state-owned enterprises to use the Ghana electronic procurement systems for all governments in transactions totaling over 7 million Ghana cedis.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, the Ghana Post operates in a very competitive area, and for that reason, we have in our hands here evidence of exemption by the Public Procurement Authority from us using the GANEPS for procurement. I have in my hand here a letter, and let me just read paragraph 4. Approval is hereby conveyed for the exclusion of Ghana Post Company Limited from applying the public procurement procedures in its operation, subject here, dated Wednesday, 9th July 2025, the Gazette of that exemption. So, because we have that exemption, they will not be running their procurement through GANEPS. Thank you.
That information.
Sorry, a copy has been shared with the Auditor General.
So is there a reason why the auditors were not informed or were not given a copy of this letter?
At the time the audit was done, even though the approval had been given, it had not been gazetted. And so that's why we see, I said the letter was 21st February 2023, but the Gazette is dated 9th of July 2025. The new management was the one that did the Gazette. And so that's why at the time the audit was done, there was no Gazette to show to them.
Okay, good enough explanation, but I don't see how you are walking through an alleyway. There is light in one and there's darkness in one, and you choose to walk through. But I think the auditors recommended that you comply going forward. So can you give us an update if you've started complying?
Honorable Chair, we are not walking in any darkness. We are walking in light. The Ghana Post Company Limited has its own procurement manual approved by the PPA. So it's not the Wild West where procurements are just happening in any way. No. There's a specialized manual because, like I said, they operate against, the Ghana Post is operating against all the private courier companies that you see in the country. They don't, if Ghana Post was bidding, for example, the passport job, they went into that as a competitive bid with all the private entities who went in there. It would then mean that they will have to go through PPA and get commencement authorization and all the things that we're talking about today. That's why the PPA, in its wisdom, developed its procurement manual for it. And so it's not as though it's a murky ground where there's no transparency. It's guided by the PPA's own procedure. And the board ratifies, yes.
So my question was, you are meant to comply going forward. That's what management's response to the auditors was, complying.
Yes, Chair. That compliance is evidenced by the Gazette notice that we have done, dated 9th of July 2025.
Thank you very much.
All right. The next question, the next infraction is going to ask you why you didn't gazette it. And,
Ghana Post.
Take responsibility for it, and we are sure that that's part of the reason why there was a change in government. Thank you.
The auditors.
Is that the answer to his question, or he did not ask you any question?
I asked. Failed to publish the exemption granted them by the national by the Public Procurement Authority.
When the public servants fail to do and say, oh, this or that, clearly, this is not something a minister will even do. You, the head or the procurement director or whoever, you are supposed to do those things. So it has nothing to do it, should have done it. So, Minister, this is not this or that. But it's when the public officers are supposed to do something, they ought to do it. When the politicians are also supposed to do something, then we also ought to do it and take responsibility.
They blame us. But we also, when they do it right, we also take the funds. So the buck stops with us. And I believe that as political appointees, we also have a responsibility of some sort to exercise oversight over the public servants who we've stated earlier that we have done the Gazette. The able management at Ghana Post has done the Gazette dated Wednesday, 9th July 2020.
Honorable Chair, we'll be pleased to have a copy of the Gazette. When we did a follow-up, what we had was a letter from PPA giving them exemption, but we are yet to cite the Gazette. Thank you.
Yes, I do have the Gazette.
I don't want to be in the position the chair was in here some time back, so I came prepared. I have my Gazette here. So please, clerk, come and take the Gazette and give to.
Right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. That is it.
You have to wait for us to tell you whether you came well prepared or not. You don't tell yourself you came well prepared. Just take your time, finish with the proceedings. If we are satisfied with your conduct, then we will say yes.
Hello. Okay, the next infraction is on paragraph 969.
Partnership operations. If you leave, I want to read section 11 of the Audit Service Act 2000, Act 584. General shall have access to all books, records, returns, and other documents, including documents in computerized and electronic form relating to or relevant to those accounts. So, with that in mind, Minister, this one, I want to advise that you allow the public servant to also come in as well, because this one can be some that will be continuing. So, Ghana Post entered into an agreement with a company called Collins C Investment Limited in March 2020 for the procurement, installation, maintenance, and management of their mail and parcel boxes. They opened an account at Car Bank. What I mean by they opened an account is the company, Collins C Investment Limited, opened an account at Car Bank to pay the revenue collected into the account. When the auditors came to do their audit, they asked for the revenue, expenditure, and the bank statement of that particular account with Car Bank. And according to the auditors, you failed to provide that information. So they recommended that you provide that information, and failing to do so will off the auditor's recommendation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. We have proceeded to terminate the contract because Collins T was unresponsive, and signed by the MD for Ghana Post. The heading is Notice of Termination of Contract. And so we terminated that contract on the 17th of June, and then proceeded again on the 12th of September 2025. That was in the possession of the company. So currently, the company has no contractual engagement with Ghana Post, and Ghana Post is following up with their lawyers to see if there are any funds, apart from the customer data that we've recovered, if there are any funds that are due us, to ensure that through the right legal processes, we retrieve all of those funds. Okay. No, there was no performance security assigned to the contract. There was no performance security assigned to the contract.
Thank you, Minister. Mr. Chairman, I'm done. Thank you.
All right. Now, the next infraction is on paragraph 976. And Honorable Sebastian Day.
Thank you, Chairman. The next infraction, assets of the Ghana Post. And it's Section 52 of the PFM Act 2016, Act 921 to be specific, states that the principal spending officer shall, under the registrar, is it? However, the auditor, in the audit process of 2023 ended, detected or noted during the inspection that the company, Ghana Post, they don't have ownership documents or land title certificate offices The details of the land, Mr. Chairman, Honorable Chairman, include the Bubu Ash.
We do not mention the specific locations. Reason being that you put it out and then you can have encroachers go in there. So we know the 3 locations. Okay. So I'll plead that you stay away from.
So 3 locations and then 241 post offices.
Minister, I agree with you because the one in Greater Accra, I'm interested in it.
Minister, thanks for that prompt. Our post offices do not have land title certificates or proper documentation. Now, the auditor's recommendation for this is to this effect, that you must take the necessary steps to prevent or to ensure that documents are proper, to prevent any litigation.
And I'm grateful to the chair and the committee for obliging my request to leave the existing locations, because even in one of the locations, we're currently dealing with encroachments there. You don't want to have a lot more people go and encroach before you complete. But what I can state on the record is that we have started all the Lands Commission. They have acknowledged same. They are preparing the bills for us on one of the parcels. And one of the other parcels, they are actually giving us a bill. The bill was about 1 million Ghana cedis. We wrote back to the Lands Commission asking, because some of these lands are huge parcels. And so when you look at the costs from the Lands Commission, again, we advise them. The other one, we have a 45-year sublease from the grantor. I'm sure that's the land the chairman says he was very interested in. We have a 45-year lease from the grantor. We have paid, we've made a down payment that is almost 75% of what they are asking for. And that again is even forex denominated. So we've done substantial work to secure the lands. Now on the post offices, 241 of them, they are littered across the country. And so the company has started an assets register, and an asset registry basically, and is taking stock of the locations and the conditions and situations of all the various titles, because some of them, they started the process, it wasn't completed, some nothing at all has been done. So they're in different stages, so that we can then engage the Lands Commission as one state agency to another to see how well we can stagger the payments for regularization. Because if we were to regularize all of these lands in 1 year, we'll be spending in excess of 100 million Ghana cedis, which would basically bankrupt the company. So, but we would want to start the process and work with the Lands Commission to stagger the payment over a number of years. But work is actively underway to ensure that we secure all of our assets.
All right. Thank you very much. The next infraction is on paragraph 981. Did you check out from the auditors?
Well, the minister did indicate that they are in the process of doing it, and I think that his answers were satisfactory. But the auditors can buttress what he has said.
Yes, Honorable Chair, they've taken steps to register their land. Per documents that we have perused, they have taken the concrete steps in registering their lands. Thank you.
All right. The next infraction is on paragraph 981. And Honorable Cletus will take care of that one.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, this infraction is on unaccounted revenue, 18,275 Ghana cedis. Mr. Chairman, under the audit review, some revenue were collected and then banked with the Ghana Post account, leaving an amount of 18,274 Ghana cedis. I want to find out from the minister whether this money has been refunded, because the auditors recommended that the said amount should be collected from the officers involved. May I know from the minister whether that has been done?
Mr. Chair, we have banked all the revenue, but let me just immediately, is when you look at where the post office is and where the nearest bank is and the revenue that comes in a day, if they were to bank the revenue every day, they may end up using 80% of the revenue. Some do a daily banking, some do a weekly, some even do a monthly. In this particular case, we have submitted to the auditors the full records of the banking to show that all the unaccounted for revenue have been banked. But this is what occasion. Well, we recommend that the auditors bear this in mind when they go into some of the locations, because if you go there and it appears as though, I'm sure if you went to my deputy's constituency, if you have to leave Golu to Tumu every day to go and bank, how much does the post office generate? So we would have to find a way with the auditors to explain the peculiarity of every post office to them. But right now, what we have done is to show evidence that all the revenue has been accounted for, and I'm sure you can verify from the auditors.
My last one, Minister, I want you to help this committee, this platform, a number of times. How about if you hear that the revenue collector kept the money in the house and they've stolen the money? How about that?
Well, that is a real challenge to the situation that we have. The question will be, do we want to use digital money solutions? So take, for example, if the lodgement for a wallet and transfer into Ghana, in this case, Ghana Post bank account. Now, the question you should ask yourself is, there are going to be bank charges with the related movement, the cost of this. But I think that if we want to deposit it into a mobile wallet and transfer to the bank digitally, but then it then means that, you see, the issue with bank charges is when I go to a traditional bank to do a transaction and there are bank charges, when you print out the bank statement, you see all the bank charges in there for auditors to be able to verify. When you do in a ledger form that is unique to just that entity, except used for the financial transaction of that post office, that may be the only way by which you may then be able to say that. So if it is Telecel cash or AT cash or MTN cash, when they come, you then request from the telecom company the print out of that vendor SIM, which is used only for that transaction. But there are nuances to these things, and so we must be careful not to cut our nose to spite our face.
Thank you so much. Good explanation. Auditors, can you confirm that the money has been collected?
Yes, Honorable Chair, the amount has been banked.
All right, the next infraction is on paragraph 9A6, and Honorable Ahinkwa will take care of that one.
Thank you, Chairman. 136,000 Ghana cedis. The audit report disclosed that post offices within Accra West region of the company did not account for revenue totaling 136,000 generated from general operations and other internal generated funds. Occurred as a result of delay in release of operational funds to the various post offices. As a result, payment for operational expenditure were made out of the gross revenue collected by the various post offices. The auditors made the following 3 recommendations. 1, that management should recover staff involved. 2, that management should ensure that all revenue collected from the various post offices are promptly deposited in the gross company's revenue account without disbursement. And the 3rd one, management should ensure that operational funds are released to the various regional offices in a timely manner to avoid direct disbursement from the daily sales revenue. Before I have 3 questions. Who is responsible for the release of the operational funds to the various post offices.
Head
It
office.
might have accounted
Head
for.
office. Head
Okay.
office is responsible.
So what was the challenge?
Okay, so Chair, in responding to this whole, the Accra West Regional District, Accra West Regional District oversees 14 post offices: Kaneshi, Odoko, Dansoman Estate, Dansoman Community, Dakuman, STC, Abosio, Odupongpehe, Kaswanyanyano, and Abeka. Now, the challenge you have is that once the release has not been made from head office, the post offices still need to carry out their daily operations. And so for whatever revenue they get, they hold some to carry out the operational expenditures, awaiting the release from head office. When head office finally makes the receipts, then they go and do the settlements in the bank. I can assure you that under this new dispensation, that's not the case. Releases are going on time, monthly, and so there is no justification for anybody to, especially in urban areas where you don't have the challenges we just discussed with the previous question, where banking distance occasions them to hold the funds for like a week or a month. In urban areas like Accra, nobody has that excuse to hold the funds anymore. We're making sure that the funds go when they have to go, they get their operational expenditure. And so this thing, they call it firm receipts. The staff people, they have a title name for it, I've just been told, they call it firm receipts. The issue of firm receipts is no longer an issue in part of our operations now, because funds go regularly. And then with the auditors for verification.
Auditors, can you verify or authenticate their claims?
Yes, we'll run a copy because these are originals. We'll run a copy and then submit same to you. So we have the originals here, but we'll just run copies for the audit service.
Desmond Payto would handle them.
Thank you, Chair. Minister, this infraction is about unaccounted revenue, a total of 45,136.10, which affected 4 stations, Ejiso, YEW, Kumasi, Konongo, and Agogo. And auditors were saying that such money should be recovered and paid same to the appropriate accounts. So I want to find out whether the money has been recovered and paid same to the account duly. Thank you.
Chairman, recovery has been made, payment has been made, evidence has been shared with the Auditor General. Thank you.
Auditors, we would like you to confirm whether the payment has been done.
Yes, Honorable Chair, we can confirm that that has been done.
Chair, I think that is all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next infraction is on paragraph 1000, and Honorable Nasser will take care of that one.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Minister, these unsupported payments, in your was able to provide the relevant documents to the auditors to support the payments of about 69,000 of tax 1,000.
Covering the full amount from the head of the Western Regional Office.
Auditors, please can you confirm the claim by the minister?
Yes, Honorable Chair, the payments have been supported. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. You and your team, you are discharged. Now we call...
Minister, I'll give you 70 over 100.
Chairman.
That is an A.
Are we overruling this question?
Well done.
Minister of Defense, please.
So substantive question. It was here, but listed, but it's overruled.
Clerk, could you please let them take the oath, please?
Yeah, they're ready. I, Ernest Roger Gentry,
Swear by the Almighty God.
swear by the Almighty God
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
Touching the matter in issue.
touching the matter in issue
Shall be the truth.
shall be the truth,
The whole truth.
the whole truth,
And nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Honorable Minister, could you introduce yourself and allow the other members to introduce themselves? Please have a seat.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. And I'm here together with the Deputy Commandant from the Kofi Annan International Peace Training
Yeah,
Center.
please let us hear his voice
Okay.
and his rank and everything.
Thank you, sir. Honorable Chair. My name is Brigadier General Zibrim Bawa Ayorogo. I am the Deputy Commandant.
So, Comfort Chairman, Director HR, Ministry of Abroad. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, I'm Rich Ajuni, the Director of Administration, KIPTC.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair. I'm Lawrence Akotobe Diakon, the Chief Finance Officer, KIPTC. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair. My name is Dr. Kweku Danso. I serve as the Dean at the Faculty of Academic Affairs, KAIPTC. Thank you.
And Honorable.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Honorable.
Just some two quick explanations to the financial statement, because if you look at the financial statement, you are well on track. And let's commend you for that. Your current ratio has increased significantly, and that is good. But just for purposes of clarity, what is your operating income? Because you seem to have increased that very significantly from 82 to 126,000. Then probably can add what your direct costs are, those two, because that also increased significantly. Because those are the very changes that happened in your financial statement worth noting.
Thank you. An international center for training. And so we have a lot of donor funding that comes in to support the training center. And so anytime we have lower inflows in terms of donor funding, you would find that the operating income goes down. And then anytime we have a lot more inflow in terms of the donor funding, you would see an increase in that. And for the year under review, would notice that we had a huge support from Canada in terms of the LC Initiative Fund and the support for gender inclusiveness. And so for that year, you would notice that that funding from Canada increased from in terms of the operating income. There are other countries that have been very consistent in supporting the training center. And I believe that we must commend them for their continued support. And if you check the financial statement, we've listed them: the Denmark, Austria, British High Commission, Nigeria, France, Germany, Japan, Switzerland, Denmark, again, Sweden, and Canada. And these are the countries that mainly support the center. Thank you.
Deputy, thank you very much. I think that is good. I'll commend you. And let's to say, just keep the administrative and general expenses down, and then keep up with the good work, because the year under review 2020.
Okay. We worked together for a while.
Yes, I'm doing well.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Minister.
Minister, you are discharged.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
thank you, Honorable Chair. Okay.
I swear by the Almighty God.
Swear by the Almighty God.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
Touching the matter in issue.
Touching the matter in issue.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing.
Honorable Minister.
Eric Opoku, Minister in charge of Food and Agriculture, and MP for Sunafosat constituency. Good morning, Chair. My name is Paul Siame, the Acting Chief Director, Minister of Food and Agriculture.
Good morning, Chair. My name is Eric Samuel Edudankwa, Acting CEO, Ghana Irrigation Development Authority.
Good afternoon. Good morning, sir. My name is Albert Alfonso Sapia, Deputy Chief Manager, Ghana Irrigation Finance, Ghana Irrigation Development Authority.
My name is Richard Kojo Agbabo. I'm with TIDA, with Finance.
Finance of what?
I am Deputy Chief Manager of
Crop Services, Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
All right, yours is accounting. Oh, I'm sorry.
Ghana Grains and Legumes.
All right, we'll be looking at your financials.
Thank you, Chair. Grains and Legumes Development Board, we are looking at your financial performance and financial position. For 2021, you reported a deficit of almost 90,000, but you did improve in 2022 by reporting a surplus of 152,755. One area I would like you to pay attention to is your goods and services. You went up over 114%, and that's one area we should be looking at going forward. I think, Mr. Chair, that should be all for grains. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable. That's a fair comment. Will be guided accordingly.
The next one is Honorable Staberston. Continue, please.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Ghana Irrigation Development Authority. We are also considering, for 2022, you also are recording a surplus of 2,826,000, and that's a very good performance. One area we should also pay attention to is your repairs and replacements. That went up over 105%, and that's one area of concern that we should be looking at going forward. On your financial position, you did very good with your ratios, and I think that we should commend you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. We are grateful for the plaudits, and we hope to improve upon our performance going forward.
Minister, you and your team, you are discharged. Let's call Ministry of Energy.
I,
Richard John Mensah,
swear by the Almighty God, that the evidence I shall give before this committee, touching the matter in issue, shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Honorable Minister, could you introduce yourself and allow the others to also introduce themselves, please?
Thank you, in the Central Region.
My name is Kwame Nto Amwa, Acting Chief Executive, GMPC.
My name is Hamis Yusuf, Acting Deputy Chief Executive for Finance, Commercial and Admin, GMPC.
Good afternoon. My name is Helga Boidi, the Acting Executive Director for GMPC Foundation. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Ebenezer Basi Amo, Manager Accounting and Reporting.
Good afternoon.
So the auditors sampled 31 out of 62 of such projects. I want you to share with us the process through which projects are selected and executed.
Honorable Chair, the Executive Secretary would, the Executive Director will respond to this.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Chair, typically the community, through their chiefs, would send requests to the GMPC Foundation asking for the various infrastructure projects. The foundation will then do a needs assessment to really ensure whether those projects are needed by the community or otherwise, pending which, if that's successful, and then there's budgetary allocation, we go ahead and execute those projects. So we normally work with the communities through the chiefs and then through their members of parliament as well and the district assemblies. Thank you, Chair.
So for the first infraction, the auditors are saying that you went through the process for some of the projects that they examined. 6 out of 21 projects that they examined, and which for some of them they were in your procurement plan, and for others they were not. To the extent that those that were not in the procurement plan, you carried out in the procurement plan for that particular audit year. They had been approved by the board, all right, but for that particular audit year, they couldn't find it in your procurement plan, yet you went ahead to implement it at the detriment of those that were in the procurement plan, but you did not complete.
Honorable Chair, I believe you are talking about the budget. Is it the budget or the procurement plan?
Well, the infraction says that they examined 6 out of 21, and then they realized that 1 out of the 6 had been approved by the board, all right. But for that particular audit year, it wasn't part of the plans. Capacity hospital at Elembele, the construction of a 100-bed capacity hospital at Tema, mine here. The construction of a 100-bed capacity hospital at Wale of petroleum studies at Takwa.
Yeah.
They said you received your proposals, all right, and approval, so that particular audit year, it wasn't in it, but you went ahead and carried it out at the expense of the others that had been.
They were referring to the approval by Parliament, because with GMPC, even after the board has approved, we still go through a work program approval process with Parliament. So that was the issue. We've agreed with that, and in 2023 we made provision for the expenditure on the Royal Golf Club, which is the matter in issue, in the 2023 budget approved by Parliament. So we've agreed that we will ensure that the projects are subsequently budgeted for, because typically the projects come, sometime within the year, and it becomes difficult.
Advise that when it comes in the middle of the year, don't go ahead and implement them, but wait and go through the appropriate
we'll have
channels.
to delay some of those requests until the subsequent year, and we've agreed to that. So what we've done is that for the 2025 budget, we actually prioritizing in favor of existing projects.
Can you share with us if you have completed the other projects accordingly? The Elembele Hospital, the Tema Mine Hospital, the Wale Hospital, the 2-story building for the University of Petroleum Studies, and the G-Inspect camera.
Yeah, so we've provided evidence that the projects, some of them have been completed and some are at advanced stages of completion. The Wale, the Tema Manhian is 20, making a case through the Ministry of Energy and the Ministry of Finance to ensure allocations are made in the 2026 budget.
That's the only project that is 100% complete. In
and the Royal.
I know funds had already been allocated for. That's why I'm asking that when do you hope to complete this? If you tell us you are now going to seek for funding from Ministry of Finance, but certainly every year they give you some allocation to enable the foundation also work. So if you can tell us that you prioritize these 4 projects that you have started and was approved for you some time back, and so that they are all most of them are hospital projects anyway, and so that you can give it to the community for the community to also make use of them. If you can give us some commitments from your end, because certainly the ministry will have to provide some funding for the foundation to work in the year 2026.
Yeah, so for the 2025 budget, we were giving adequate allocation, and we've dedicated those funds to completing those projects. So in fact, for the 2025 budget, we didn't have new projects under the 2025 budget.
If you are given funding, how come one is at 29%?
Yeah, multi-year projects.
I know that, but you know how monies also operates.
Yeah.
Or for your end, they don't sweep the monies at the end of the year. They don't. They allow you to roll over.
Yes.
And
yes.
so that if,
so we declare,
the money is
we
available,
declare what money we have,
yes.
and then we look at the new projects, and then.
So
we roll
I'm thinking that if you said the allocation has been given to you for 2025, you ought to complete. We shouldn't have even seen a 29% completion for some of the projects. Clearly, if you have the money and you are executing the project.
No, money was given for the 2025 portion.
For the 2025 portion.
Yes, it's a multi-year project.
So the 2024 portion, how much was given? That enabled you to construct just 29%. When was this? Because this audit is for 2024.
This audit is covering 2018 to
2023. And consistently, monies have been given to you. And you tell me that you have done just 29% completion. Then you are not prioritizing it. So I would want you to please look at it again and prioritize it. The next time an audit of this nature, the next time this audit is done, I hope and pray that you would have gotten to a stage where you can hand over to the community. Because if it's from 2018 to 2023, and at 2025 you still have, it's just 29% complete, then CEO, okay. I beg you to look at it again and see how best you can complete and release to the communities. Usually, when we have these things, the communities are excited about it and they really look forward to completion and usage of it. That's all I'll say. Thank you.
Chair, advice well taken.
All right, GNPC. We are looking at procurement over here. It starts from paragraph 54 of this report. That GNPC justification for the use of restricted tendering method did not meet the requirement in Public Procurement Act. The recommendation was for we recommended that the CEO of GNPC should ensure the procurement unit desists from the use of restricted tendering to procure projects if they are justification of PPA. What has happened now?
So essentially for the restrictive tendering, it's really where we have specialized entities where, you know, if you conduct a national competitive tendering, it will not be beneficial because you have specialized entities doing specific works. So we've taken this recommendation very seriously. We've reorganized the procurement department and we're conducting a lot of training by the PPA for ETC members, for directors, and the whole procurement team. Actually, we've done so for the board as well. So I think the auditors have verified that these
that the entity has requested that the PPA take the staff of the entity through some procurement training on issues concerning procurement. So that has been done, and we hope that going forward we will see an improvement in their procurement system. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next area to look at is paragraph 73, 62, and Honorable OPK will take care of that one.
Thank you very much. Foundation, you executed some 20 projects. 19 of these projects were without, did not go through competitive cities. The report highlights that the foundation handpicked the contractors for works, and some of these works were in Asafo, Asawinso SHS, some sanitary facilities in Queen SHS, Astrotex in Adenta, Agunashan. When this issue was brought to your attention, the argument that the foundation advanced was that these claims were mainly, the auditors disagreed with you and recommended that issues of the foundation should go through PPA compliance. I want to find out from you what steps you have taken to ensure that this bypass will not happen again under your authority.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. And we're waiting for our board's consideration and approval. The policy will also ensure that the GNPC as a corporation and the GNPC Foundation will be occurrences in the future. Bearing in mind that these happened. We have also enhanced our SOPs, which are the standard operating procedures, to guide our operations in terms of what we're supposed to do. It shows what the deliverables are for each side of the party as we execute our projects. And we'll be happy to share that SOP that we've drafted with.
The board is yet to approve it. I'm not sure you can hand them over to the auditors. I would have asked the auditors to verify and also, but once the board 678.50, that was paid to a consultant. Are you able to tell us if that refund has been done?
To the contractor in question, on the 29th of October, he responded, and we're going to do a reconciliation. He's acknowledged the amounts involved, and so we'll do a reconciliation, and then we'll get the necessary steps done. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
So once that is that, please let the auditors know so that...
Okay, the next one will be Honorable Frankie Eboa, who will examine paragraph 73.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And this is on delayed and abandoned projects by the Corporate Social Investment Department. You started 5 projects, 100 bed hospital at Elembele, same at Wale, and another one in Tema Mahian, and another 2-story building for the School of Mines and Technology, Takwa, and the last one, Royal Golf Club. According to the report, some of the projects have been delayed and others abandoned. So, since you have the practical explanation to this, can you tell the committee what is actually happening? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I believe I answered this one. Some of those projects have now been completed on the 30th November 2020 to the institution. The other projects that you mentioned, the Royal Golf Club, has been completed and handed over. There are the 3 projects that we said are continuing with different percentages, and based on our serious work to raise financing, we believe that we can complete them very quickly. So the other 3 are the Wale 100-bed hospital, which I indicated was 68% complete. The Elembele Hospital, which is 54.5% complete. And the Tema Manhian project. As we have assured you, our focus is really on ongoing projects. So for 2025, for example, we've prioritized ongoing projects. In fact, I don't believe that we have any significant new projects. So we're putting all our efforts to make sure that we complete the outstanding projects.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, my last one. The auditors indicated that at the time of the audit, there was an outstanding of 414,000 that needed to be paid to the contractor. Now that you've taken over the project, have you paid this amount to the contractor? Thank you.
Which are the projects?
Sorry? Okay, they picked that you needed to pay 414,000 to the contractor. And I'm asking, now that you've taken over the project, have you paid the said amount to the contractor?
Part of my question flows from an answer that was given by Madam.
Just a minute, sir. The last one, will the auditors confirm, please?
Honorable Chair, the two-story building and the Royal Golf Club, Kumasi, that also has been completed. The other three projects are at various stages of completion. And then the outstanding amount of 414,000 has also been paid.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Chairman, thank you very much. Part of my question will flow from an answer that was given to my colleague Opoku Ansah. This one has to do with non-adherence to project specification by the consultant and the contractor. And in it, about 48,000 the project. His question was to the effect that, has that refund been made? That was an earlier observation in it. And Madam said that there ought to be a reconciliation when that is done, before that could be done. Madam, was that the answer, please?
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Okay. On this infraction about the variations in terms of the BOQs that was done, the auditor's observation and your response to them was that you agree with the observations that they've made, that there were variations in terms of the project. And there were about 10 of these projects, about 3 astroturfs, sanitation facilities, and some classroom blocks. And that in the actuals that were constructed were not of the same. And that the reasons were that the consultant failed to supervise the project. Your response was that he only visited when there were funds. And also that they observed that there were no scheduled guidelines for the auditor's supervision of the work. Are these projects completed? And if they are, with these variations, do you find also another specification? Do you find these projects?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Regarding the variations in the BOQ specifications that occurred on these projects, yes, we agree with the audit findings. We also realize the quality of the projects that were put in place. And so most of these projects are in use. What we are going to do going forward is that as much as we'll be having our project consultants monitoring and supervising these projects, we'll also strengthen an in-house monitoring and evaluation team to serve as a check on the external project consultant, so that we assure that if we say we're doing 100 square meters, it's exactly 100 square meters and nothing less and nothing more, because it all comes down to the payments that will be made. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
And then once you agree, I think the reconciliation ought to be fast for us to have that 46,000, first and foremost. And also, secondly, also strengthen your M&E so that at least we will not be having some of these issues. I think it's very important going forward, Madam.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Very well noted.
Madam, and the last one, per the report, they said that almost all or most of the projects were under one consultant. And if you look at the expansive nature of how your projects are, where they are, if one person is to supervise all of these projects, because we are looking at Elembele, Aguna, we are looking at Yape, we are looking at Sehi Yoso, Sehi Asafo, And if one consultant is managing all of these across the country with the varied projects that you have, I believe that that is also a contributory factor. So if you can kindly break it down so that you can have more consultants handle these things so that at least their supervision will be apt to tax, I believe that that is one of the major observations that the auditors had. Auditors, can you please confirm that some of these arrangements are being done? Is that they are monitoring, they are doing their M&A?
Honorable Chair, I think they earlier stated that the SOP is ready, but the board is yet to approve it. But the recommendations that you are suggestions given is well noted. Under the resetting agenda, we are going to apply that as well.
I will continue on paragraph 97 with Honorable Day.
Yeah, Honorable Chair, thank you. And it relates to utilization of projects. Section 45, Section 4.5 of the Corporate Social Investment Policy indicates the overall objective of GMPC Foundation is to make GMPC more visible, socially responsible, and avert negative backlash from the communities. Also, by the Foundation's operational procedures. In line with this, we expected the GMPC Foundation projects to be utilized after completion, as the projects were implemented to meet the needs of the beneficiaries who made the request to also project their corporate image. The auditors found out that 4 out of GMPC Foundation's projects, namely the construction of a 12-unit sanitary facility at Ejan and Yape, construction of a hospital at Kronum, Kwapra, and construction of a science lab at Yasantua Senior High School had been completed but not being used. The projects lacked basic ancillary facilities to make them functional. My question is, what is the level of your follow-up to ensure that these facilities are utilized in line with the objective of putting them up? Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Again, in 2025, we took steps to put in place what we call a management agreement with the beneficiary communities because of what we had observed in the projects that had been constructed, the years, Project Assembly or whoever. We have a maintenance agreement in place to make sure that not only do they maintain it, but they utilize it for what it was meant for. In the case of, for instance, the Yasantua Senior High School, it was meant to be a science laboratory, but due to some lapses in planning, it had to be turned into a classroom block because it was just sitting there. With the wash facility in Ejan, for instance, the issue was that it wasn't connected to power, and so the borehole could not be utilized for the wash facility. And I'm happy to report to the House that that has been done, and evidence has been shown to our contractors, to our auditors. We are also going to review all the completed but non-operational projects to identify the needed interventions that need to be put in place. As I mentioned, the EJAN is now connected to the national grid. We also actually just commissioned a 160-bed dormitory for Bimbilla Senior High School, including a 24-seater sanitary facility connected to the national grid in Bimbilla. That was done on Saturday. So again, that is part of us continuing our old projects. With the facility in Yape is actually being handed over to the community and it's in use. They had an issue, but that issue didn't emanate from us. It was through the usage. But we've done some community engagements with them, and so they know how to utilize the facility properly, especially with the sanitary facility that's attached to the community center. Things are done a lot more seamlessly going forward. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Chair, I can only, based on the explanation, auditors, first and foremost, you can confirm.
Honorable Chair, we can confirm that of Ajan, but the rest, we are yet to have an inspection of those projects to attest to what has been said. Thank you.
That said, my only advice will be for GMPC to ensure that part of the project's costing and everything includes all the way through to when it becomes operational before you hand over. Because I think that will be very much challenged in terms of getting it to you. So that's by way of advice.
All right, we'll continue on paragraph 113, and Honorable Cletus will take care of that one.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, let me. This one more or less has to do with some sort of ghost project. Is not that clear. And so if you start from, let's start from 114. Paragraph foundation constructed boreholes in communities such as in the Greater Accra. A visit to the Shugashi community revealed that the said borehole was non-existent. Again, representatives of the GMPC Foundation accompanied us to a nearby Sanerugu community, but the borehole could not still be found. The documentation presented for our review, however, indicated that the borehole project had been executed in Shugashi community and paid for. Now, if you come to paragraph 115, I think monitoring was also a problem. GNPC Foundation, you should ensure adequate monitoring. Don't give contracts to people and do not monitor what they do. Now, if you come to 116, failure of the monitoring team to monitor and supervise the construction works of the borehole led to GNPC Foundation paying the contractor for works not done. For works not done. That's 116. Now, the surprising thing is that for the boreholes at Tuba and Sule Quarters, both in the Greater Accra region, we found that they were executed 117. I just want to run it down so that the Executive Secretary can respond. So, under the audit review, the auditors noticed that these projects were found on private persons' property. We noted that as a policy, GNPC endorses all completed projects with the corporation's logo. However, none of these boreholes had the GNPC endorsement, casting doubt on the true ownership of the projects. Residents interviewed in these two communities were unaware that the boreholes were provided by GNPC Foundation. That's why I started by saying that. Now, you come to the last paragraph, 118. The owners of the private property upon which the boreholes were constructed had undue advantage over the boreholes and operated it like their personal business. They determined when the boreholes will be open and closed to the communities, which consequently deter residents from patronizing. So let me listen.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. With regard to these boreholes, I don't want to use the word ghosts, but again, these happened couple of years past. So learning from those experiences, we're going to be geotagging to give them the locations, and they can even go by themselves without our presence. So that's what we're going to be doing going forward. Again, in terms of locating these community projects, as I was mentioning, we would stick to the needs assessment and make sure that it is a community that would benefit, and not until when we come back here next year, the chair will be very, very happy with the progress that we've made from then until you see us. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Chair, to add to it, I think just listen. When I said ghost projects, what? I don't want us to. Let's don't drag this, Honorable Minister. Let's don't drag it.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that those that are located in people's homes, how we can bring it. So I'm saying we are seeking your guidance.
Fine.
Yes,
that's fine, because I thought you were coming differently.
Right. Okay, Chairman. Before Chairman comes in, with respect to this infraction and the little that I know and all of that. Are there instances where you approve, let's say, boreholes for a particular town? Let's say you have approved borehole for committee room 1 and 2, but then your team comes and after they have done their evaluation of whether the place has water or not, they find out that no, this place is not suitable. Then now the committee heads now go and locate a different place and construct the borehole. Has that happened under? Because for instance, the first community, Sugashi, I know that is what transpired, that the boreholes have been constructed, but they were done in a different community. So I don't know if you are aware of this. Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. So, for instance, there was a borehole that was supposed to be done in Sugasha, in the Sanarigu district. But it was relocated to Sugashi because when they did the initial assessment, they found that the water table was not good enough for a borehole to be able to provide water to the community. So it does happen, but we have discussions with the communities before the relocations are done. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Chair, to come back to the minister also raised concern about these projects that are on private property on this point. And I have confidence in the current MD, GMPC, and the Executive Secretary. I know the availability of these projects and whether indeed these projects are on private sites. If they are on private sites, you need to do something about benefits. And we on this committee will want the Ghanaian populace to benefit. We won't want to lose money to individuals. So let's another time you can report back, but don't leave it like that because it may reoccur one day. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, duly noted. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, you ask about those boreholes on people's properties. He was not aware, Assemblyman was not aware, Member of Parliament, me sitting over here, I'm not aware. I 3 boreholes. They did not complete these boreholes. I guess the people didn't get paid, and then they left. So they need to consult the MP, Assemblyman. If nothing else, there is a MCO, MMDC is around. Consult them, and they may give you an idea. This one is somebody's land. This is not somebody's land, so that when it comes to you trying to identify your project, you'll be able to find it. But all these mistakes, nothing happens on my farm. Maybe they should make a mistake and dig a borehole on my farm too. Honorable Minister, you and your team, you guys are discharged. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So, the Auditor General, on Friday we announced that you are going to update us on members. We haven't finished, so can we please, Sebastian? We haven't finished, Shirley. Yeah. The Auditor General, we informed the people of Ghana that on Monday you'll be updating us on those we gave 30 days to settle their infractions, and then we can take it and move forward from there. So if you can please give us an update on the infractions tracker and let's know where we are.
All right, thank you, Honorable Chair. So these are the entities that appeared before the committee, and they were given, some were given 48 hours, and then we had some who were also given 30 days. So the 48 hours and 30 days are due. So I'll be going through them one by one. In respect of Achimota Hospital, they had unsupported payments to the tune of 62,360. And they were given 48 hours to provide the supporting documents. As we speak, they have done so. The documents have been provided, and we have verified them. Then there was an issue of payment of unearned salaries to the tune of 3,588,050 cedis. That infraction was cited in the name of Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital, but as we speak, that evidence, and that is in the name of the Western Regional Health Directorate. At the time they appeared before the committee, out of the 77,455, they had recovered 11,885. And they were given 30 days to recover the balance. That is also pending. They have not been able to recover.
Which MDA is that, please?
Regional Health Directorate, Western Region, under the Ministry of Health.
Oh.
And then we have Aguna East Health Directorate. The issue had to do with non-deduction of Tier 2 contribution. And they were given 48 hours to do that. As we speak, they are Aguna East Health Directorate.
Health
non-deduction of Tier 2 contributions. Then we have Amansia South District Education Directorate, Manso Edubia. The infraction was payment of unearned salary, and the amount was 175,395 cedis. They were given 30 days to recover this amount. As we speak, they have been able to recover 36,855, leaving a balance of 138,540. Then we have unearned salaries, Ghana Education Service, TEPA. They were also given 30 days. As at the time they appeared before the committee, the unearned salary was 30,186, and nothing had been recovered then, but leaving a balance of 15,202. Then we have unearned salaries in the name of Municipal Education Directorate, Jirapa. When the amount is 105,736. When they appeared before the committee, they had recovered 8,975.33. And they were given 30 days to recover the balance of 96,761. They are yet to provide us with documents as to whether further recoveries have been made. Then we have the same Municipal Education Directorate, Jirapa, overpayment of salaries. The amount was 29,458. And when they appeared, 255.33, with an outstanding balance of 13,202.67. Unearned salary, District Education Office, Trifo Praso. As we speak, leaving a balance of 8,270.09 at the time, balance of 4,591. Kwewu Afram Plains North District Education Service, wrongful payment of physically challenged transport allowance, 17,703. That is also pending. They have not recovered the amount. Doma West Education Directorate on earned salary of 6,203. Nothing was. The amount is 23,580. Out of that, at the time they appeared before the committee, they had recovered 9,034, leaving a balance of 14,545. And they were given 30 days to recover this balance. But it is still pending. Nothing has been recovered. We have Government Secretariat School, Secondary Campus, underpayment of Bangalore staff. I think it has to do with rent. Now, out of the 7,674, when they appeared before the committee, they had paid 4,549, leaving a balance of 3,124.63. That is also pending as we speak. The Greater Accra Regional Hospital, that is the Rich Hospital, the issue had to do with rejected claims. And the amount was 1,293,090 cedis. The committee asked them to do an investigation as to why those claims were rejected and where they find that the necessary punishment would have to be meted out to those who are found to be involved. As we speak, they have